day traders from across the globe, and welcome to the 1769th edition of Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar Carboni. Traders, this video, again, the 1769th installment of these educational videos, coming at you on a Wednesday night for trading Thursday, May 3rd, 2018. Before we get into the topics on the board, you must know that futures trading, stock trading, ETF trading, trading anything at all that involves money is very risky, especially these days. Volatility through the roof, markets have been whipping around, stops have to be huge. You need to know that this is risky. You need to know that stops have to be placed, put them in first. Come on down to livewithoscar.com, hang out with me in my free live trading room, and I will help keep you in tune and keep you calm during these crazy market moves. I'm finally back after almost 10 days of traveling with a bunch of kids. We went on a class trip. It was fantastic. St. Bernardus, thank you so much for the invitation. I really enjoyed that. Straight from there, I bolted to New York City, off the plane from where the kids were, bolted to New York City on another plane, sad reasoning, went to a funeral, came back from there within one day, of literally, I came home on a Friday night, Saturday morning, went to New York, just got back last night, and then found out that my daughter is in the hospital in Reno, and I might have to get on a plane and go again right now, but my wife, thank you Lisa, to the rescue, is going to go and take care of my daughter for me. Olivia, I hope you're okay, sweetheart. If you need me, I'll be on the next plane out. And we'll see what happens. So I'm in my seat through Friday. We'll see what happens there. All right, traders. So while I was in New York, I won't spend too much time on this, but I have to say, I am in shock at the opinion of the Trump haters in New York City. I did, without people realizing, I did a little bit of a poll. I conducted a poll while I was in New York City. I would throw some questions out and pretended that I was speaking of something else and veer it towards Trump and get to see what their answers were. And I will admit, my last visit a couple of months ago, they had some pretty good arguments for why Trump might not be the greatest guy to be president. And, we weren't sure about the Russian thing, and they had their arguments, right? And they were slightly valid. Well, this time, several months later, I'm in New York City, and I'm saying, so, hey, have you seen an extra raise in your weekly check? And people are like, yeah, well, that's got nothing to do with Trump. I had a really good friend of mine. You know what his answer was? That was given to us from our great-grandchildren. Trump's not responsible for the tax cut and the raise. Our great-grandchildren have to pay that back. You remember that same boring, stupid, wrongly surmised argument when we gave the talk money out? And everybody out there said, it's going to take generations. Our grandchildren won't pay it off. And I did video after video after video, 2008, 9, and 10, telling people within 5 years, not only will talk be paid for, but everyone will get rich off the talk money. And that is exactly what happened, right? President Clinton had a $2.5 trillion deficit when he got in office. It went from down $2.5 trillion to up $2 trillion. And Bush gave that money away. He gave us all $400 each. One-time gift. Remember that? Emptied the coffers. So, yes, deficits can absolutely come down. How dare you say that our grandchildren will have to pay for that? The productivity, supposedly, from the tax cut is supposed to pay for it. So I said, okay, you've got no argument for me there. How about this? Does he get any credit for North Korea? We haven't had a president speak to a North Korean leader ever since the 60s or 50s, maybe 40s. Then we had a war in the 50s, and no one spoke to them since. Korea and China have a bridge that cross, and there's never been a Chinese leader that has met a North Korean leader yet. Trump gets in office after 65 years of this war. Just like that, there's a meeting, there's a curtain dropping, they're giving nukes away. Does he get credit for that? And the answer was no, I don't think so. Then I said, wait a minute, Obama, for 8 years, all we heard about was ISIS is taking over the world. They took over this country, and now they're taking over that country, and we can't stop them. And then Trump gets in, and within 1 year, they're out of Syria, they're out of Iraq, they're out of Iran. They're completely dismantled compared to what they used to be. And he doesn't get credit for that either. And you know what their argument was? Well, I don't like the way he tweets, and he cheated on his girlfriend when she was his wife. Those are their arguments. They're down to that. That's it. That's it. Those are their arguments now. He cheated on his wife, And they don't like the way he tweets. They have zero argument. And these same people who pretend to be haters, I assure you, because already they went from having a good argument in 1 year to having no argument, they will be voting for Trump in 3 years. You'll see. Just wanted to say the difference in opinion in New York compared to the people here in Vegas is vast. And I say these people in New York walk around with blinders on. It didn't used to be that way. They had open minds. If it was a good candidate or a good president, they would go with it. Now, this guy could bring the moon down and make it meet the sun, and they wouldn't give him credit for it. In any event, sorry that you guys from New York City do not see the light, but I'll tell you right now, I've never had anybody give me a $10,000 raise that didn't make me smile. And I know people that tell me they got an extra $200 in their checks per week. You know what that means? It's $9,600 a year. You know how many people would leave their job to take a job with $9,600 more? And you people in New York City cannot give Trump credit for the raise he just gave you? Oh my God, that's a sickness, people. That's a sickness. You'll all be lined up to vote for this guy in 3 years. Anyway, sorry about that. I had to get that out. What's on the board? Red Omni, emini, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, and gold. Red Omni on all of them. You'll see why on the charts they look as bearish as they have been looking, and I've been showing you in video after video. I have not given up on. I think the downside's coming a little bit. We're not out of the woods. Don't get happy on the upside. Well, it's starting to happen now, right? NASDAQ, S&P, probably the tranny, the Dow, and likely the Russell look very weak technically. Likely they will come down. Definitely they look weak technically. Likely they will come down on Thursday. Gold's below the 200 ball moving average and below a flag, and that looks bearish. You sell the rallies. The dollar is slamming everything out there right now, except for what? Bitcoin. Crazy as that sounds, Bitcoin's not priced in dollars. Bitcoin basically doesn't have much to do with dollars. And while the other markets are feeling the pressure of a nice, strong, go-get-'em dollar, Bitcoin has no problem with rallying a little with that dollar. And I say give Bitcoin a round of applause. Because I bought the crap near 15,000 and I got a long way to go just to get even. So, come on, Bitcoin. In any event, I had a 4-year plan. I still got 3 years and 7 months to see where my Bitcoin ends up. Traders, I don't want to speak too much about this. I want to get right into the charts. I will say this. Omni campers are coming at the end of the month. I can't wait to see you cats. We're going to have a great Omni camp. There is one Omni camp left scheduled for September this year. The last Omni camp for 2018. I will only accept 5 students at this Omni camp. If you want to come to Las Vegas this September and learn directly from me how to call the Omni, which is Oscar's market navigational indicator, that's the Omni. You've seen it. You've seen the magic. It's not always right every day, but boy, oh boy, has it been good for the last 12 years to us. If you'd like to learn that personally for yourselves, you come on down to livewithoscar.com, fill out an Omni Camp application, and I'll personally call you to qualify you for a seat in September. With no further ado, let's go look at some charts. Traders, daily cash S&P chart. You've been seeing this in every single video. We are still in that bear flag, but now we're starting to challenge the bottom of it. And it looks like we may challenge, once again, that 200 ball moving average. Now, each time we've gotten down there, it has held, but this is a test, then this is a test, and now this is a test, and it's not usually that often. Usually a test is, and then a big move, and then a test, but see how they're starting to just rapidly, boom, boom, boom. I say we're going to break that 200. Let me show you the S&P E-mini. This is the E-mini S&P chart. Now, remember, you've seen every one of these charts in every video I've shown you, these 3 averages. Remember, we got above we held the 200. Yay, we got above the orange, and up. We failed at the Omni, we got below the orange. Well, now we're about to challenge the 200, and we are absolutely in a bear flag, bouncing from top to bottom of the bear flag. But this time it couldn't get to the top. It failed at the orange, and it's already here, kids. That looks like it's going to take out the 200 on Thursday. Look at the NASDAQ. Once again, bear flag type looking formation. Big failure at the Omni average. Now, back below, right? Got above for a little while, got above the Omni, but came below and tested, failed at the Omni. Now is below the orange, heading back down to the bottom of the flag. Red Omni for NASDAQ for trading on Thursday. Look at your Dow Jones Transportation Average. Now look at this, the same sort of thing. The only time we've gotten out of this flag at all in any of these charts was just a 5-day spurt when we popped out. Since then, we have been in the flags and under these averages, and now look. You hit the Omni, you broke under it, now you broke under the orange, and now, as of the close, you're right here. You are below, at this point, below the flag on the transportation. Now look at this chart, traders. You've seen this in every video. Remember how I showed you that this is resistance, which then becomes support? So if you've got a line which is resistance, it's hard to get above it. But once you do get above it, you should stay above it at that point. So now you do, and you test, and you stay above, but then you get back below. So we started to break up and down through the resistance/support line, and we are now underneath it. Remember that we failed at the Omni average. We're back below the orange average. We're heading right towards the 200. That's one view, same chart. Let me show you the next view. Same chart. But there's another boss in town now. Not only did you have this established, but now that there's a new high, you've got to basically establish the new boss in town. So here's our new resistance line. Cuts right across the highs, goes to the previous high of the chart, goes to these couple of highs, valid line. So now you have to get above this to start thinking bullish. Forget about this. Getting above this is only somewhat bullish. You got to get above that to be very bullish, and you are nowhere near being above either. You see what I'm saying? This is the next logical thing to take out. The 200 ball moving average. Fund managers are watching. Next, same chart once again. Third version, same chart. Slap the flag on there, and now you are below the flag. Below the support resistance, below the flag, they meet at the same spot, below that average, getting to that one. See the picture? Nothing bullish there at all, short term, technically. Long term, yes, I could paint a very bullish picture. Short term, technically, no, bearish. Now, gold, another market just getting hammered. This is the 200 ball moving average, deemed the fund manager's blue light special. Look where we are in relation to that average. Look what happened yesterday, and look what happened today on Wednesday. So for Thursday, we expect more downside, maybe all the way to the bottom of this channel, because once again, top, bottom, right? Top to bottom, 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 back to the top, back to the top. Why not down to the bottom? That's the way this thing seems to flow. And you've got a red Omni. What's making all of this happen right now? Look at your dollar index. This is the exact opposite. Above the Omni, above the orange, above the 200, in a massive channel. Looks fantastic. Round of applause for the U.S. dollar. The mighty king dollar, baby. Petro China dollars. Ha, 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 ha. That's your king right there. And what else is getting a little help from the downside in the S&P? Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin. Remember, it's been in this horrible, horrible channel for quite some time. In fact, this is the first day Bitcoin ever traded on the exchange when it became a future on the CME. We're following Bitcoin. All it did was stay in this nasty, nasty red channel, but it finally broke out of the channel. Very interesting, and we bounced off the bottom of the channel on Wednesday. So for Thursday, this looks bullish. The rest of the markets do not, except for the dollar. Traders, join me in my live trading room. I'll explain this further at livewithoscar.com. Traders, after that analysis segment, I've only got one thing I want to say. And you know what it is? Go Knights, go! Go Knights, go! Go Knights, go! Woo! Go Knights! Come on, baby. We need you in the Stanley Cup. All the rest happens at livewithoscar.com. I will see you there. Remember, keep your emotions out of the game tonight, boys, because we need to win. In order to do that, those guys on the ice and you cats need to say this to each other and yourselves over and over again. And you know it. And you know something, and it sounds something like this. Stops are in. Emotions are out. Go Knights, go. I will see you guys at the game. Futures trading is risky and can cause substantial financial loss. We do not claim or guarantee that you will profit from the information provided.